Hello everyone and welcome back to another breakdown. And this time we're gonna talk about the song One More Time by Daft Punk. Just to contextualize a little bit of this song, One More Time was released on their second album Discovery from 2001. It's a song that is very French house as they became known for. It features a sample from the song More Spell on You by Eddie Jones. And it also features a vocal performance by a guy named Roman Thony. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but yeah, and there's a lot of autotune to his voice, which was a thing that some people didn't take so well, which is kind of weird if you think about how the music industry is today. But yeah, I think this song's a little bit ahead of its time for some reasons, in some aspects. But okay, enough talking. Let's dive into the song, alright? Here we are, One More Time by Daft Punk. Let's begin analyzing how they structured the song, an overview of the arrangement of the parts of the song. As I said before, this song is mainly based on a sample from this song, More Spell on You, by Eddie Jones. And there is an intro here where they present the sample, the main idea of the song, and then we get the drums, the beat get introduced, and then we get the vocals introduced along with the beat, and then a little bit more of variation on the first part. Then we get a long vocal solo, then we get a comeback with the vocals and the drum, and then an ending here that it's pretty much repeating the same idea before. So it's a kind of a simple idea of a song, but what makes this interesting is that with so little they made such an appealing song. It is so danceable, so catchy, and we're gonna try to understand how this came to be. All right, as usual, let's start things with the BPM, with the tempo of this song. And here we have something that caught my attention once again, that the BPM is changing a little bit. It's around 120, 22, 23, and 24. It varies between those numbers, but it's there. It changes throughout the whole song. The same thing that happened with some of Words of Canada's songs that we already discussed on some previous videos here. Okay, I advise you to go and check that out. And that actually caught my attention because I was starting to doubt myself. I was thinking maybe the fact that I'm putting the songs on a grid, on Ableton, something like that, could be introducing some change to it. Because if you think so, electronic music should be a little bit more precise, right? It should be more exact. And then I researched a little bit and saw some people arguing that some of the old acts of electronic music didn't really use so much of digital equipment to do the songs, to make the songs. They used a lot of sequencers, a lot of analog gear, so that's a good reason for that to happen. And in this case particularly, as they use a sample from a song that it's not very precise, it's not very exact, this could introduce some variation to the timing because they probably pasted the sample throughout the sequencing, and this could somehow introduce a change in tempo. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's what it is. And maybe we'll see if this happens or not in some other songs when we cover some new songs, some electronic songs. There are some somewhat newer. The interesting thing about the tempo is that this one, different from the others that we discussed and we analyzed, this is not a down-tempo song. It's kind of more uplifting. It's a very danceable song, as I said. It's a kind of a club song that you put to dance and to have fun. So the tempo is a little bit faster and more energetic. But yeah, let's dive into the song now. First we get the intro here where they present the samples. Let's hear it. Okay. Nice. This loop, this 8 bars loop, is the idea of the song, the sample idea that I'm sure sparkled the song, that made it possible. It's gonna be repeating through the whole song. It is an 8-bar cycle, as I said, and sometimes it's gonna get some variations here, mainly with filters, the French house movement, uses a lot of filters, they high pass or low pass, a lot of things, and we're gonna see how they do this to insert a movement to their samples and to their songs in general. In this case, this intro here is gonna be 16 bars long. We have here a high pass filter working, or maybe a band pass filter too. There's almost no low frequency on this part here. Let's check for that. Alright, and this is a great technique because it highlights the heaviness that we need from the bass, okay? You're gonna see that the next part where they drop this filter and that the bass enters, we're gonna be affected by the heaviness, the heat of the bass, and how it grounds things, okay? But before we do that, let's analyze the sample first, okay? How they did it. Let's try to replicate it, okay? As closer as we can do this. As I said earlier, the sample comes from this song here by Eddie Jones. It's kind of a funk song. Let's take a listen. Oops, I'm sorry. Let's turn this off. A lot of horns and stuff, kind of a big band thing, and they took a snippet from this. I am not so sure if it was from here, but I've mapped the cut that I think that they did to create this. Okay, let's hear from here to there. All right. I'm thinking this is the main part that goes like this. And then they go here. And this one is the one that hits and repeats a lot. It's kind of tough to see this way, but what you do when you're trying to sample is that you have to analyze the transients of the song. These peaks and valleys here, these peaks in the volume, places where things hit and where they drop. Okay, so let's say if I did a loop here like this, it's gonna be a little bit weird because it's not a full bar. Let's say like this, and I'm not preserving the transients of the song. It's tough to explain this, what I'm trying to say, but you have to cut a piece that can loop itself without you realizing that it's really looping. Like, you can't really distinguish the beginning of the loop and the ending of it, or at least not in the unnatural way, okay? So when we cut this, let's just copy this and paste it here, all right? If you check it out, it's not a full bar, right? So it would be like this. If I'm trying to make this a full bar, I should cut it like this. But do you see that this is like the next chord, the next progression? This is the next part of the song, so it kind of clashes things and makes it a little bit weird. Right? And you could argue that I could do this actually. Let's just do the grid a little smaller, and then like this I could do. But because I'm not preserving the transients of the song, the main hits, the beginning on the sample, it's right here where you see this peak in volume. It also, again, it looks weird somehow. It sounds weird. I could use like this, okay? What I'm just trying to explain and to make it understandable is that we need to adapt the sound of the sample to what we're gonna do, to what we're gonna use. All right. If I want it to sound for a whole bar, I need to take a piece that is a whole bar that contains an idea that could be looped for a whole bar, or I could try something else, which I did in this case. We could warp this bit here. I'm gonna use complex here just because I prefer this algorithm. I'm not so sure about how this really works, but the beats one here it's designed for beats, so for a more exact and precise hit, which is not this case. This case is it's more of a chords sound. It's not just a drum doing a hit where you can see it so much. So we need to be able to adjust this a little bit more detailed. So I would put this here, and if I do a mark here and here, I could just drag like this. Let's pull this. All right. And like this, our peak here, it's right on the point that I want it to be, okay? So let's hear it again. Way different than this. Let's undo what I did. So warping things makes it a little bit more manageable, okay, to get where you want to get. I'm not sure if they did this or whatever, and also there's a lot of people doing this too. Let's put this on off mode from the grid. You can find a lot of tutorials and people doing this, so yeah, this is not a new thing or anything. So yeah, you just adjust the samples so that it fits what you want it to fit. Yeah, and this is gonna play for I think 3 bars. Yeah, 3 bars like this, and then we get the other chord there, which is this sample right here. So I'm gonna copy this. Let's not do this. Paste it right here, and let's do the same. Again, if you listen to this for a full bar, that's how it's gonna sound. There's this little silence here that we could do this, but then sounds weird because the bass here is gonna clash with the beginning of the next loop. You could try this too. Let's put it off. We could try this too, but also, right? We have to try to preserve the transients, as I said earlier. So once again, we're gonna warp it. Go to complex here. Do a little mark here, try to extend this to here, and let me open this. All right, let me do this, okay. And also this one, we want to extend this to the end here. Oh, too much, right there. And this a little bit, let me go off grid here, because then I get a little bit more. Okay, so this way we're able to work it through the full bar as we want it, as I said earlier. And this way we could manipulate the sample as we want to, as a bar. Let's hear what we got so far. Right? But I'm thinking that they probably detuned this somehow and adjusted some, because it's not the same tune, the same notes, the keys is different. Yeah. And what they do is they repeat this like this. Yes. Yeah. And this here, it's gonna be a different hit. That part there is this little snippet, this little cut here. looped again. And once again, we need to make this work as in the grid, let's say. And this time we want to make it like a fourth note something, the division. So it should be something like this. Like that is pretty much close to what we want to do. But if you want to get a little bit precise, a little bit more precise, we could do the same. Warp it here, go to complex, identify our transients here, that is this peak in volume. Turn a little bit down there. And we could actually drag this here and drag this down there. So it could be a little bit like... Alright. Something like that. We copied this space here, and it should look something like that. Let's hear the results of what we did, okay? All right. What I did earlier, I spent a little bit more of a time here. Let's hear. It's pretty much the same. And what they did in this intro is that they put it band pass, probably a band pass, but you could do this with a high pass too. So they filtered the low frequency, so they presented the sample filtered, and I think that in this intro probably the other elements that they added like snare, kick and hi-hats are probably present here, and the bass that I think that they doubled too from the sample. If you went on a high pass, okay, something close to that. This is the original again. The key, the tune is a little bit different if you check it out. Alright, we'd have to find the key to that and detune the sample, but I was actually just trying to demonstrate how you could cut a sample from a song and maybe create an idea, create a chord progression for that and use it as a base, as the foundation of your song. That's what Daft Punk did, okay? Hope that's a little bit clear. As we mentioned, the key, let's talk about that. It is, as I said before, an 8-bar cycle, and the chords are very simple here. It's doing a kind of a G major 7 here, then an A, a G major 7, an A G major 7, an A again, and the hit that repeats a lot is doing what I think is an F sharp minor 7, and ending things again with an A. So let me turn this on here and let's hear it together. Yeah, that's about it with the chords. They repeat this, it's 16 bars as an intro, and then after this we get finally presented with the drums. Just a quick thing about the chords, this is probably indicating to us that the song is in D major, alright? The scale of D major is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. Just throwing that out there in case someone wants to argue about that and maybe discuss a little bit about the tonality of this song. After the intro, we get introduced to this line of a vocal here, to this phrase, to this vocal phrase that is maybe the identity of this song. It's saying the title of the song and it's pushing you into this song. So let's hear this second part here. I'm turning that off. The sample, the vocal, one more time. And then the filter drops and the beat comes in, and because it was lacking the bass, when it comes in, you feel the heaviness and the presence of the bass, and you can feel the impact of the bass once it comes into the song. All right, the notes here that the vocal is doing, I've seen some people arguing that it's an F sharp, then an E, a D, and that's it. But I'm kind of hearing like the vocals kind of go to F sharp to G and F sharp and then a E, a D, and the final snippet of the vocal is kind of on a B. So let me turn this on so you guys can understand what I'm saying. One more time. Right? One more time. One more time. The B should be just the ending of it, just a little tail. One more time. Right? One more time. But mainly, most people just hear this, and maybe that's what's more accurate. One more time. One more time. Yeah. And then it's gonna play for 8 bars, and once again we're gonna hear the vocal phrase that at this point almost sounds like a sample, right? Almost the same thing that happens in the Ride Biff, where the sample plays right there in the end of the 8 bars to kind of call you into the song, for you to listen to it once again. So yeah. Once again. One more time. And it finally get presented with the snare. So let's talk about the bass here. I think they just doubled the bass from the sample there, so I'm not sure about this, but I think that's what's happening. So the bass just do a G, and then I'm hearing this D here before it goes into that A that I said earlier, then goes into G again, the same chord progression, just doing the root note, and then F sharp, adding things with an A. So let's hear for the bass here. Did you hear that this goes up right here? Oops. Right? Doom, doom, doom. That's what I'm hearing. I'm highlighting it. Turning it off. Okay, so that's the bass. It's just doing the root notes, but it's doing an important role that is emphasizing the root notes of the chords and of the sample, actually. Giving the sample a little bit more of foundation, a little bit more of heaviness, and a ground for us to stand on. So we get introduced with the bass, and the kick here is doing a 4 on the floor, because it's the main feature, the main characteristic of a house song. A French house, that is the kick doing 4 on the floor. House songs basically do this, so let's hear for that. It's just a continuous kick. Yeah, and in this part here, this first 8 bar cycle here, we don't really hear the snare so much, or the clap, but I think it's there somehow filtered. Because the second kick sounds a little bit more layered somehow. I don't know, I can hear some higher frequencies on the second kick. Alright? But it's definitely there on the second 8 bar here. And this one is always entering on the 2 and on the 4, the snares. Okay, so this is let's turn this on. This is the house rhythm, let's say, the kick and the snare doing this. This is the foundation of a house track. Okay, and another thing that we're gonna. And another elements that we're gonna see too. But before we do that, we also hear this hi-hat here. I believe so. It's doing a 16th note, and it's just a continuous hi-hat with a little bit of dynamic to it. It's not so dead on, you know. It has some movement to the energy of the hi-hat. We also hear a tambourine here. I'm highlighting it. Here is pretty clear because the sample is holding it. Right? And we also have this hat here. It's another trademark. It's another feature of a house track. That is this hat happening right after the kick. So let's just hear the kick in this house hat here. Let me turn off the song. Just them both. It should sound something like this. And then we got the snare. This is the foundation of a house track, okay? I'm assuming it's happening throughout the song, although I can't really distinguish it here. And that assumption comes from this part here, where we get a better glimpse of the beat of how things are going. You hear? The open hat that I said earlier. Okay, so I think it's happening here too, because it's a fairly common thing to happen in a French house kind of a song. And we get this for another 8 bars, the drum here. And a little variation is gonna happen at the end of that. It's like they repeat same effect from the beginning here, where they high pass everything, you know, take all the low frequencies from it. Just for these 2 bars here. This makes the bass hit again hard, and also it gets your attention once again. And it serves again to introduce the real vocals now, the vocal melody along with some lyrics, okay? But the drums are gonna be the same pattern. Actually, throughout the whole song, the pattern that I just demonstrated is gonna just repeat it. And this filter technique here is actually one of the most common things around French house. They do this a lot, as I've heard and read, okay? So yeah, we're gonna get another 16 bars here of vocal melodies and a little variation that we're gonna see right now. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright, don't stop the dancing. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright, don't stop the dancing. Yeah, this is the main vocal melody. Let's say it's something really simple. It's just doing some notes that are in the scale of D major mainly. Could be also in the scale of G major too, because we don't see any C sharps here. So it's there's a little bit of an ambiguity here too. But yeah, it's a simple melody. Let's hear just a little bit of it. Repeating. And what's interesting here is just that in this part here, this 8 bars, we just have this little change here, that this chord should be the F sharp minor 7, as I demonstrated earlier, like this part here. But here it's just again the G chord with an A following it. So let's hear it. Just the same. When it gets here, it should go right, because it's the end of the 8 bars. So, but no, that's not what happened. But other than that, it's the same thing. And we get here another 8 bars. The same pattern here, the 16 bars with the ending of the second 8 bars with this high pass, a little variation. And here, we're not gonna see a high pass, but a drop in the beat to just maintain the hi-hat and the tambourine. So let's hear for this now. The same vocal melody. Drops. The beat. Then the beat returns to its original state, and it's pretty much just gonna repeat itself. And this time, the F sharp minor 7, it's gonna appear again. Around here. Right? And that's it for another 16 bars. We start to see a pattern here, right? The song changes on the end of every 16 bars. I have the intro here with the 16 bars ideas. That's just idea that is just presenting us the sample. Then another 16 bars that introduce a little bit of the vocals and the main beat, the main drumming of the song. And then another 16 bars with the real vocal melody and ending with this other variation here. It's just a drop in the beat. And we got some other 16 bars here. In the end of the 16 bars, we're gonna have another filtered area. Let's hear for that. Let's go from here. Just the beat and the sample, the same as before, as I can hear. The vocal is gonna return, but now right? They apply now on the sample a low pass filter, so the higher frequency is actually being attenuated. It's down in volume, so we hear more of a low frequency content here. Right? And it has the same pattern as in here when I said that it's a G major, then an A, a G, and A. Has no F sharp minor 7, this area 2. And this low pass filter again is a filter that it's a common thing, a common technique around French house, and it gives a lot more space to the drum, to the beat to breathe, to appear in the track. Now we can hear the house head as I showed. Right? And just to demonstrate that, if I did a low pass here, open this, select a low pass. Sorry. Okay, it could be a band pass like this. So yeah, that's what's happening there in this area here. And but in this case, we're just gonna get this for 8 bars, and we're gonna be introduced to a whole new segment. Now this is gonna change a whole lot. We're gonna have like a vocal performance here, a vocal solo, where the auto tune that I said earlier, that I stated earlier, it's gonna be very present, and it's gonna fulfill an important role this time for real. So let's go from here to there. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright, don't stop the dancing. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, don't stop the dancing. One more time. Always with this one more time. It's like a calling thing that keeps us always wanting to get into the song, to dance maybe. And here, this new thing that I said earlier also introduces a new instrument, a pad here doing the chords G major with the bass on a D, and a D major with the bass on an A, and then we get a E, we get an E minor, and a G with the bass on the A again. Let's hear for that. This new pad is a little bit more contained too, so it gives a lot of space to the song. And the beat's gonna drop too. We're just gonna hear the pad and the vocal performance here. So let's go from here.
Oh yeah, stop the dancing one more time.
Right. Turn this off a little bit.
I'm just feeling celebration. Celebrate. Don't wait too late.
This is gonna be repeating throughout this whole time.
No,
Till there.
we don't stop.
And then we're gonna get this vocal, kind of a vocal solo.
We're gonna celebrate one more time. One more time. One more time. Celebrate.
In this area here, you get again a little bit of the hi-hat and the tambourine coming in. They're gonna introduce some energy to this part here, but they're gonna be fade out soon after. We get this for, it's almost 48 bars, man. It's a long time in this vocal solo, but mainly it's this here, mainly is for 32 bars, the vocal solo, because from there on, from this part on, it's gonna be like more of a phrasing, especially here. There is a pattern that's gonna be repeating, and then everything's gonna be together right there. But yeah, let's continue hearing it. It's a very loose vocal,
One more time.
doing some notes here and there, repeating some phrasings.
A celebration.
There's a lot of auto-tune to it.
Tonight, hey, just feel it.
The singer is great, but I guess they're doing this for pure aesthetics, make it sound a little bit more robotic.
Alright, we're gonna celebrate.
The head's dropping here.
Celebrate and dance so free.
It's gonna repeat a little bit, the
Music's got
phrasing,
me feeling so free.
and we're gonna come
Celebrate and dance so
to
free.
see a pattern.
One more time. Music's got me feeling so
Starting
free.
to repeat
We're
it.
gonna celebrate and dance so
The heads
free.
are gonna fade in
One more
again.
time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're
the
gonna
kick too.
celebrate and dance
The samples are gonna fade in again.
One more time. Music's got me feeling so free.
Everything's
We're
gonna build up to a
celebrate and dance
more
so free.
energy
One
part.
more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna
Alright.
celebrate and dance so free.
Turn this off.
One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate.
Then we're gonna have a drop.
Dance so free. One more.
Right? So cool.
One more time.
Then everything together. The same beat, the same bass, the samples, the same. The vocals that were established before are now here. Right? So cool, man. And it's a very house track with those elements and the drumming of it. And yeah, that's about it. After this, we got another 16 bar cycle. As I said earlier, we're gonna have this once again, another filtered area, a drop in the beat. Actually, it's not another filtered area. We're gonna have a drop in the beat in this part actually.
One more time.
And some comeback. It's just gonna repeat itself towards the ending, towards the end. But yeah, that's it. One more time. It's a song that repeats a lot of elements. It's really based on that sample, those samples that I showed you earlier, and how you can vary it and create these drops and these peaks in the energy of the track. Sometimes you have to filter a little bit of a frequency that you judge as an important part of the song, so that you can highlight it later on, so that the listener can really understand that this frequency was fulfilled also filling a role that was really important. Yeah, but I think that's it. I've talked enough about the song. I hope this helped you guys get some ideas and understand how this song and how the arrangement of this works. So thanks a lot for watching, and if you like this video, consider helping us by sharing, liking, subscribing, all of that stuff. Okay? Thank you, and until next time.